For the past 18 months, ever since the October 7, 2023 Hamas terrorist attacks in southern Israel, and following the Jewish state's defensive war for its survival, anti-Israel protesters in Canada, who constitute a fringe but vocal minority of people, have made no qualms about their desire for Canada to be Jew-free. While some of these radicals conceal their true agenda, others publicly call for Jews to go back to Europe. So for a moment, let's entertain this absurd and obviously anti-Semitic idea and really ask ourselves this question. If Jews never historically existed in Canada, what would Canada look like? Jewish immigrants first arrived in North America in the 18th century and settled in the British colonies. They then made their way north into what is now Quebec after New France was incorporated under the British Crown. By 1768, there were enough Jews living in Montreal that the community built its first synagogue, known as Sharith Israel. 88 years later, Toronto got its first synagogue, Holy Blossom Temple, in 1856. Throughout the years, Jewish immigrants continued to arrive to Canada, spurred on by new economic and societal opportunities, and by 1927, Canada's Jewish population grew to 125,000 people dispersed throughout Canada's major cities, including Halifax, Montreal, Toronto, and Winnipeg. For almost 250 years, Jews have contributed to all facets of Canadian society. But what if these people never came in the first place? Who and what would be erased from Canada's history? Early Jewish immigrants took on many different types of roles as they established themselves, working as peddlers, farmers, fur traders, and small business owners. Many also contributed to the garment industry in Montreal, Toronto, and Winnipeg, either as manufacturers, factory workers, or skilled tradespeople. As time moved on and Jews became established, many expanded and grew their businesses, such as Sam Cohen, who in 1919 opened up the Army and Navy surplus store in Vancouver, which would then eventually become Canada's first national discount department store chain, which still exists to this day. In Montreal, Sam Steinberg introduced the first self-service grocery store in 1934, and by the 1970s, his enterprise became Quebec's largest supermarket chain, known as the Steinberg Supermarket. Similarly, the Reitman family launched a small women's clothing store in Montreal in 1926, which has grown into Canada's leading women's clothing specialty chain store with over 800 stores nationwide. But it's not just Jewish business leaders who have had a major impact in defining Canadian history. Canadian Jews have also been pioneers in academia and science. For example, Sidney Altman, a molecular biologist hailing from Montreal, earned the 1989 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for uncovering the catalytic capabilities of RNA, which plays a crucial role in transmitting genetic instructions throughout the body. Likewise, Rudolf Marcus, also born in Montreal, was honored with the 1992 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his groundbreaking theory on electron transfer reactions in chemical systems. John Polanyi, a Toronto-based chemist, secured the 1986 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his pioneering work in chemical kinetics, while Winnipeg physicist Louis Slotin contributed to the Manhattan Project, which led to the creation of the first atomic bomb. Some of the world's leading hospitals also reside in Canada and were started by Jews. For example, in Toronto, Mount Sinai Hospital was built in 1923 and today is a world leader in women's and infants' health, cancer, diabetes, and complex care. They are also world-renowned for their work in genetic research, surgical oncology, critical care, and cardiology, and have leading programs in areas like high-risk pregnancy, inflammatory bowel disease, and complex orthopedics. In Montreal, the Jewish General Hospital was built in 1932 and today is renowned for its advanced healthcare, research, and teaching excellence. Specifically, it is famous for its Segal Cancer Center, the Lady Davis Institute, and its high-volume obstetric services, particularly in managing high-risk pregnancies. Jewish Canadians have also made significant cultural contributions to the arts. The Bronfman family, for example, a widely known successful Jewish family, has made significant impacts in Canada. For example, in 1952, Samuel and Sadie Bronfman created a family foundation in their name which primarily supports education, the arts, heritage preservation, and Jewish community initiatives. This foundation continues to exist to this day. The Bronfmans also founded the Sadie and Samuel Bronfman Collection of Canadian Arts at the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts, and in 1967, the Bronfman Centre for the Arts, now known as the Segal Centre for Performing Arts, a theater and arts complex for education and performance. In 1986, Charles Bronfman, Samuel and Sadie's son, created the CRB Foundation to promote studies on Canadian and Jewish affairs. Through the CRB Foundation, Charles and American philanthropist Michael Steinhardt created Birthright Israel, which has funded visits to Israel for more than 500,000 Jewish students from around the world since 1998. In 1999, Charles also co-founded and endowed the Historica Foundation of Canada, a charity dedicated to promoting Canadian history. Charles Bronfman has also supported big ventures, such as bringing Major League Baseball to Montreal, with the Bronfman family owning the Montreal Expos Baseball Club from 1968 to 1990. Jewish Canadians have also made a lasting impact in music, with artists including Leonard Cohen, Geddy Lee from Rush, Alanis Morissette, Stephen Page, Paul Schaefer, and Drake, not only defining musical decades, but full genres of music. In entertainment, Jewish Canadians such as Seth Rogen, Nev Campbell, Wayne and Schuster, Howie Mandel, Naomi Klein, Lorne Michaels, Eugene Levy, William Shatner, and many more have helped define comedy, television, and film for decades. Meanwhile, in the Canadian news media, Montreal's Red Fisher and Toronto's Barbara Frum are two stellar examples of what excellence in journalism actually looks like. There have also been many Jewish Canadians elected and appointed to office who have played a significant role in shaping Canadian policies, such as Senator Linda Frum, former Supreme Court Justice Rosalia Bella, Ezekiel Hart, the first Jew elected to office in Canada, former Solicitor General of Canada Bob Kaplan, and former Mayor of North York Mel Lastman. Now, for a moment, let's think back to the original question. What would Canada look like without Jews? Well, in full honesty, it would look very different and not in a positive way. A Canada with no Jews would not have seen the same rapid expansion of economic growth in the early 20th century. A Canada without Jews would most likely have not seen the same level of scientific advancements, medical research, and quality healthcare that we enjoy today. A Canada without Jews would have seen a significant decrease in the funding of performance arts, dance, literature, and education. A Canada with no Jews would have erased decades of musical masterpieces and leave us devoid of gems in entertainment who all started their careers in this country. And a Canada with no Jews would have left our nation as being less open, progressive, and inclusive. Jews have, for almost 250 years, helped to shape and define every facet of what it means to be Canadian. Simply put, a Canada with no Jews is no longer a Canada. Let's recognize and celebrate the contributions Jewish Canadians made to our cultural, social, and economic fabric.